All right. This is one of my best topics. This is probably my ongoing theme, and every time I talk about it, I get better at it. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Express Lane. I'm Jeff Carroll. I want to do this longer, but I don't know how much time I'm going to have, so I'm going to jump right into it. I talk about the importance for black sci-fi. I talk about it's important for black science fiction writers to write stories with black characters in it, in their own mind. But I'm saying this, and I feel like extra important to it because I saw a book that I'm gonna post on my Facebook page along with this video, which is the epitome of like white fear, or the white racism, not white racism, like racism, the epitome of like that, since books like Farnham Freehold, and maybe I'm going to profile some racist science fiction books. I'm not prepared to do that now. I just know some of the ones that come to mind, all the time. But I'll put together a list of the most racist science fiction books, and I'm going to ask people to add on to it. So that's going to be something. But I say that sci-fi is the battlefield for the black imagination. Why do I say that? I wrote an article called "Black writers should not read H.P. Lovecraft," and I believe that they should not read it because of the impact that it'll have on their organic thoughts, right? The things that we ordinarily would think of ourselves. So we don't want to write it because of that, right? It'll dwarf and stifle our own imagination and thoughts and ideas. So that's the main reason. Now, I feel that way because of the importance of us writing organic thoughts. Like, our thoughts are important to the world. They're also important to us for two reasons. One, our thoughts liberate us, right? Our thoughts are revolutionary in the sense that they give to us our future and our behavior the way is best for us. Now, that's some really broad academic way of saying it, so let me simplify it, or let me break it down, right? So every culture has their values, and I think values have a variety of right ways, okay? The values of the Western world, right ways, are not the values of the Eastern world or the Sun world's ways. And they work best for the Western world. And if you was to try to give the Asian world something that works best for the Western world, it would not work best for the Asian world, okay? That's one next level example. So how we imagine space travel is mostly through physical machinery, which is a Western world model. Okay, not to say we didn't build cars, we're not building spaceships. We got hidden figures in all of our areas, but the space travel itself is not something that Africans only thought of, right? We thought of probably more than we think of the physical machinery space travel, a celestial space travel, right? A celestial invasion, right? Or interaction, exchange of life and information. And because we mostly hear and read in this Western-dominated world a physical space travel process, that's really what we only write about. And we don't write about other ways to travel through space. And we should, right? Because as an African or Sun World people, right, we imagined other ways of traveling through space. Many, much like the Mayans who had the calendar, and they believed that certain things would happen on 2012. They weren't building rocket ships. They were readying their minds for this potential space connection. And that's what I think we should be doing as writers when it comes to the post-apocalypse, right? We're not necessarily even scared of the post-apocalypse as a culture, but when we read and watch the post-apocalyptic shows, they're so dystopian that it's ridiculous. It almost makes you think that the end of the world is only going to have negativity on the other side of it, when in fact, in apocalyptic events, whether it be earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, even amongst Western people, it is a call to humanity. It is a time for coming together. We forget about money. Like this war that we're going to see in the Ukraine is still going on right now. But in the post-war Ukraine, we're going to see what a post-apocalyptic event will be like. Now, mind you, it's not a global apocalyptic event. It's a very local apocalyptic event. But we will see how, is it overwhelmingly dystopian, or will it be a good ending? Will people come together, or will they still be fighting over land? Will they be enslaving and then torturing each other? What will emerge on the other side of this apocalyptic event for, say, the capital, right? Or whatever one of the cities are that the Russian army destroyed. We want to see what that'll be like. And I bet you it's not consistent with what you see in film, television, and Western books, right? And so, but if you ask people, what would the post-apocalyptic event be like, without thinking, people will say, oh my God, it's going to be horrible. I don't want to live in the post-apocalypse. What do we do without this? What do we do without that? I need my phone. I need my hospital. I need my medication. People will just do this and do that. And I think that that's a Western world way of thinking. I think it's so toxic, right, to the Black imagination, that I think it's a battle for us to think in other directions, think of other things. I think it's imperative for us. If the post-apocalypse as just one thing, or if space is not a negative thing, right? If aliens aren't going to come here to kill us, and we are so scared of them that we will not see the blessings when they do come to us to share whatever it is they're going to share. Now, mind you, yeah, the unknown is the unknown, right? So I'm down with them being potentially right. But what I'm saying is we should not give up what we think as non-Western people because we're around them. We should maintain all of that uniqueness. Now, give you an example. I was watching a show that I was highly anticipating, the DMZ, starring Rosario Dawson and Benjamin Bratt, and directed by Ava DuVernay, right? And I'm loving it because, okay, they took a different angle and they're starring Latinos, and we really never see Latinos portrayed the way they are being portrayed, authentic families, authentic, it's almost some telenovela conflicts, with the way they were dealing with two women dating the same man, right? But then the overall story setting is that America had a second civil war, or maybe there was a world war and just happened on America, and New York City, Manhattan Island, is a demilitarized zone that didn't choose sides between the two war fractions and became this middle area where nobody has jurisdiction, and the people have to come up with their own system of order. That is the structure. But one layer down from it turns into the warriors now, where gangs have emerged and tribalism has surfaced. And then you say, well, damn, is that really consistent with what happens in a non-governed world of diasporic people? Would we turn towards tribalism? We already approaching a lot of tribalism with this call for reparations, and Tariq Nasheed and the foundational Black American community taking up verbal arms against immigrants and Latinos and Caribbeans and Africans and so forth. But prior to that, our civil rights fights have been a diasporic undertaking. We had people like Minister Farrakhan from the Caribbean, Harry Belafonte from the Caribbean, Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael from the Caribbean, Marcus Garvey from the Caribbean, taking up the intellectual battle, Arthur Schomburg from the Caribbean, so we've had a lot of people mixing in with our move towards liberation and justice. But all of a sudden, we, on the post-apocalypse, we turn on each other and we go back to some tribalism that is only adolescence in its nature. Yeah, young people fight and they do things like that. And when new immigrant groups come to America, like the Haitian group, they do like Jamaicans did prior to them. They do like Dominicans did. They do like Puerto Ricans did. They fight for respect. But the adults find ways to move past that, and we do move past that. But yet, on shows like this, it makes you think, oh man, it won't happen. So when I look at DMZ, the show, I think, yeah, Ava DuVernay focused on, introducing a new lead character, right? A character that is in the story that really wasn't the focus of the story. There's no reporter yet. I think this is almost a prequel to the DMZ comic series. I'm trying to figure out where it falls. But in the process of Latinizing and feminizing this universe, this story, she did not reimagine the universe, and maybe she couldn't. Maybe it had to go tribal, right? Maybe it had to do that in the sense of the story and the writer. Who knows? But I know that the writer is not black. The writer is not Latino. This is a person from the Western culture. So here again is something that's being imposed upon us, and actually showing the rest of the world what we might do. And that's not really true, because if it's a white writer, it's not what we think we do, it's what they think we do. And the hypothetical needs to be adjusted to that. It's really hard to say, but when it comes to science fiction, when it comes to predictions, who does the predicting is very important and related to the prediction. So science fiction is a hypothetical, many times, is a hypothetical question. And the answer is a beautiful answer, but it's rooted in who is answering the question and how the answer is being portrayed. So if it's white people thinking about how black people will behave in the brown people behave in the post-apocalypse, that's fine, but it needs to be labeled as such. Like, so when I get into like Farnham Freehold or on Ballistic Station or some of these other books that are, racist in the sense of how they imagine black people, the writer and the lead lead creator of the world is important to the story. It's important to the answer to the question. So anyway, I'll probably elaborate on this later on, but I didn't want to start with DMZ. DMZ is my primary example, but when it comes to space, when it comes to horror, when it comes to the post-apocalypse, we need to open our minds towards what we think, and then we can compare, right? Then we can compare it to others. But anyway, I'll keep going on. Let me stop here. Like, subscribe, and share, okay? Or like, subscribe, and comment. That's what I like. I want you to get your comments. So this is Jeff Carroll, Sci-Fi Express Lane. I'm out.